Welcome everybody back here at Veil of Sound. I'm very pleased to have a band here on the show, or at least three of the band members here on the show, that might have been under the radar for a lot of European people because Season to Risk, I have to admit, was not a huge thing over here in Europe. But I know that you guys had a cool following back in the States back then. So I'm very, very happy to welcome Steve, Duane, and David from Season of Risk here on the show. So, guys, thanks for joining.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So maybe each one of you shortly says what you're doing in the band, especially for our European watchers.
Yeah, go ahead, Duane.
I'm Duane. I play guitar and make some noise on some keyboards sometimes.
I'm Steve. I'm the default singer.
I'm David, the drummer, and I've tried to insert metal whenever I can in honor of German band Einstürzende Neubauten.
Oh,
How'd he do?
He did very well. He did really well. So yeah, cool. That's an interesting thing to say, David, because Neubauten are of course a great band, but I would not have expected that. It makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
We are definitely more Neubauten than Rammstein.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy, right?
Yeah. That's when I was telling you I went to Berlin, it was to see Neubauten. So I've seen them. I've seen them in the States, I've seen them in France, and I've seen them in Germany. So.
And of course, in Germany was best, right?
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was Columbia Hall in 2017, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
Okay. So, as an icebreaker, I normally have one question. This time, because you're three people, I have one for each of you. And I have to read it off because it's highly complicated. Duane.
Yeah.
Did you know that Steve here is an objectophile?
Objectophile?
Yeah, he loves objects.
I didn't really know that.
Yeah, because Sie lieben Maschinen.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, right.
I see where we're going here.
Yeah, you're sneaky there. All right.
Yeah.
You got
your research.
And David, did you know that Duane can't control his addictions?
Yes.
Because he's a quitter.
Quitters Club.
And the last one. Steve, did you know that David is pretty prolific with the gun?
Well, he's been shot in the ear,
and he's been a gunfighter.
Oh, gunfighter! Oh, he had a band called Earshot as well.
I know.
Yes, gunfighter. Yes, I forgot him. I forgot you were in Gunfighter. I always forget that. Sorry.
So for everybody out there, why am I bringing up all those bands that are not Season of Risk? I just do that because Season of Risk. Why do I do it? Because I just want to show how diverse, how multiple this scene back in Kansas City was, and you were a really big part of that. And for everybody out there who says like, yeah, okay, that's like 3-4 bands. We could also talk about Coalesce. We could talk about Shiner. We could talk about Get Up Kids. So there were loads of bands back in the day, and many of them are still around. Mm-hmm. How important was the scene back then for you guys?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, it was everything. It was our lives. You know, those were all our friends and all these other bands, and we were creating. I mean, not to brag, but we were creating the scene. You know, we were with our friends. We were collaborating and you know, making things happen and
yeah, feeding off each other's creativity and kind of just going forward. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Because many of those bands were highly diverse. I mean, just think of Coalesce and Get Up Kids, or think about Shiner, who were very different. Yeah, so you know that is something that I loved about that scene, And I mean, like here in Europe, it was hard to follow. But especially in the late 90s, that was like an explosion of Kansas City bands over here. Unfortunately, I never seen you guys on European stages. Did you ever tour here?
We had 3 different offers to tour over there. I think the first time was with the first time we got offered to come over with Cathedral and Entombed, and we were touring with Fudge Tunnel in the States at the time. And Fudge Tunnel was like, "Man, that tour isn't really right for you guys. Their crowd's not going to like you. You should wait till you could come over with us." And so we told the label and the agent, "Yeah, we'll take the next one. We're gonna pass on this." And that, which was, so wah wah. And then the next time we were headed with Neurosis, and but then one of the guys in Neurosis had a skateboarding accident and broke his collarbone, and the tour got canceled. So then
sounds like David.
Yeah. So then no, we didn't get to do that. And then the last time we were supposed to come over with a band called Siv. Do you remember them? SIV.
Yeah.
And then that's when our bass player at the time quit the band to join Shiner, and we just didn't have the time to get another player before the tour started. So we kind of shat on all our opportunities to go there, and we never made it. So
at least once you were robbed of it, right? It's not your fault. At least minimum once.
Yes. Yeah. So we hope to get there. That's kind of on our wish list. So.
Okay. So I'm like, first of all, for everybody, we're talking here because on November 28th, these guys here have re-released what I would personally call their best record. Yeah, thank you for the music. In a Perfect World was the title. 30 years ago, it was released via Columbia Records, and we'll come to this major thing in a bit. Now you're releasing, or now you've re-released it via Spartan Records, and that's like the thing that is like the reason for this. But if I see it correctly, you are touring when this one is out. You are touring the US. So touring Europe is something that is still on your bucket list.
Yes, for sure. I just feel like it's something that we just didn't ever, obviously didn't get to do. So why not? Like I always hate to harp on time and age, but there's only so much time. So let's do it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, let's be honest. Now you're at a point in time when even if you have children, they're probably so grown up that they won't be missing dad for a week or two.
Yeah, exactly.
How much? I mean, like I've seen that you 3 guys are, of course, having different jobs, and it's of course, something has to bring food to the table. But how much are you still connected with, for example, the Kansas City hardcore scene at the moment?
I book bands. I run a music venue, so I'm connected with bands, and I'm aware of what's going on right now and all this stuff that's happening in our scene. I'm not going out and getting in the pit every night, but but there's a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of interesting bands and doing stuff here still to this day, and there are young people creating their own scene too outside of the stuff that I do, and it's still pretty vibrant. I think it's cool, Duane records bands all the time,
Yeah, I have a recording studio, and it's not like 100% hardcore bands. It's, I got a pretty wide variety of stuff that goes on, but yeah, I still get to see some cool artists from KC for sure.
Who was the last cool band that you recorded? Or who was the last band that you recorded? Because otherwise you might...
Shoot, let's see. What was going on the other day?
Well, yeah, the Boys Life record you did a while ago that just came out this week. Yeah. So the new Boys Life EP is also on Spartan Records, and they were back in this day with us too. Sorry to answer your question, Duane.
yeah, that's good. I draw a blank sometimes because everything's such a blur.
But so who did you record like this week? Like Rad Key? Did you do Rad Key this week?
I did Rad Key last week. Yeah.
But that actually sounds as if the studio is pretty much booked all the time, which is of course a cool thing.
Yeah, it's great. I'm pretty fortunate.
And David,
he's fortunate in that Duane has been working 7 days a week for like 3 years straight.
That's a very fortunate thing, yeah.
Building the studio, but like really, really busy.
Yeah, I mean, like as I said, something's got to bring the food on the table, right? So, David, how are you still connected to the scene? I mean, like first of all, we have to say that David lives in the Red Sox country, which people like I hate because like I'm a Yankees fan. So
I live outside of Boston.
Doesn't make it any better. It's still Massachusetts.
All right. You're not wrong, but Boston, not LA.
Oh right. Yeah, don't get me started on those. Yeah.
My hometown hardcore band is the Freeze from Boston. They're actually from where I live, Cape Cod. But yeah, I'm still connected to the scene. I played in a hardcore band until pretty recently. But I get bored with the street punk and the sort of old school. So I actually joined a polka band, which was faster and harder than any hardcore band. But pretty much I have to fly to Kansas City to really do what I love with these guys.
How often do you do that? How often do you fly to Kansas City?
This is the third time on Wednesday. This is the third time this year. So kind of a lot.
That's a pretty dope jacket you got on there.
Seems very cozy. I have to admit that.
Yeah.
I'm not above doing an interview in my PJs.
Right on.
That might be too much. That might be too much information right now. Well, you guys already mentioned, or we've already mentioned, you're going on tour, and I looked it up, and before the release of In a Perfect World, you were basically on tour for years on end, right?
Back in the 90s, we toured constantly. That's all we did. All the time. And we were lucky Kansas City's right in the middle of the country, so we could do these loops. We could do a middle of the country loop, and then we could go to the West Coast, come back, recharge, go to the East Coast, come back, recharge.
And by recharge, Steve means 2 days in between tours.
Yeah.
Because
you got to record something.
When I joined the band, we went out on tour with the Unsane for 3 weeks, but the second we got home, we already had another tour booked, and then we ended up on tour for 10 months straight.
Okay.
So you can't hold a job. You can barely pay. You have to pay your rent, but you have a room that you don't live in. It's definitely a weird situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was back when we all lived together, and we just was like, we can probably scrounge up $500 to pay the rent.
Yeah, back then.
For all of us.
Yeah, I think some of that speaks to, why we took so long of time off, and kind of explored other channels and kind of got grounded a little bit, but always stayed in touch and always kept, doing things every year or a couple years, so.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the list of bands that you toured with, I mean, that is like a who is who, because I wrote it down for myself so that I don't forget. I'm just going to drop a few of them. Killdozer, Unsane, Neurosis, Prong, Killing Joke, Fugazi, Corrosion of Conformity, Monster Magnet. I mean, that's a very long list. And something that struck me is those bands don't fit together at all.
I mean, I think, some of those were just one-offs, where they would come through Kansas City and we get on the bill like Killing Joke or Killdozer we played in Minneapolis and in Kansas City, I think. But I think that's the.
And let me guess, when you played in Minneapolis, then a band like Dazzling Killman was on the bill, probably, right? Something like that.
We've did shows with them for sure, yeah, but they weren't on that show. But the last time we did play Minneapolis, just last
Nick
summer,
Sick's other band.
We played with Nick's
Upright Forms.
Upright Forms,
yes, they're so good. I love it.
But the singer could be better.
I like it. I think that's speaks to what was happening in that era, where everything you could, and that's something that I think we loved as a band. We weren't just like a hardcore band and playing, you have variety. You have, like, even the tours we did, every band was a little different. And so you had variety and creativity happening, and these things that, like, where everything isn't so generic, and I really
a lot of
appreciate
crossover.
that. Yeah. And I think that's always, for me, that's an important thing in life. I don't like to do the same thing all the time, or hear the same thing, or
Sure.
So.
And then I thought about the list again, and there was something on that list on a deeper level. I think that many of those bands that you toured with or that you played one-offs with had an audience that was open to very different things. I mean, like, think of Neurosis starting out as an early form of a post-hardcore band, and then all of a sudden transforming into this sludge juggernaut. Or think of Fugazi, who went the other way with roots in hardcore, and all of a sudden becoming maybe one of the most important, let's say, mathcore bands, or whatever you want to call it. Was that something that you noticed, or is that something that you, in hindsight, noticed? You were lucky to have bands that were very open.
That's kind of what we were into. I mean, we liked certain things about all these different bands, and we weren't pigeonholing anything. We would just try to find, if there was if people were doing something that struck our interest, we were into it.
Yeah. By and large, we didn't say no too often to tours. I mean, the thing is, the ones we said no to, I can't even remember who they were with, or who it was offered. So, I mean, other than that one first European tour, but that was at the advice of another band. If they hadn't said that, we probably would have been there. But they're like, they're gonna spit on you. You're not gonna like it.
There was this thing going on in the late 80s where hardcore bands, we were all getting sick of playing the same beats and the same riffs and having the same song structures and everything. And so we were writing this post-hardcore music at a time that it wasn't called that, really.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about math rock or any of this stuff. We were just trying to do something that we hadn't done before every time.
Right. Expand our horizons.
Unlike a lot of bands, when we had a successful thing, we didn't repeat it. We didn't try to make another one and just drill on that one thing, because we're too disinterested in that. And that's why, instead of focusing on one band and one kind of song that builds a huge audience, we made 47 bands.
Right. Yeah, true. You're right. Yeah, we're constantly you're right. I was like, oh, I want to play bass and I want to be in a punk band. So I just start some stupid joke band and that, had some success and around town. And you're like, but that satisfied it. I'm like, that's not the focus. That's the thing to satisfy that itch,
Yeah. And I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned the late 80s, because I would also say that, David, because there were bands that were doing the exact same stuff over and over and over again.
Right.
I'm not going to drop a lot of names, but if you listen to some of the machismo New York hardcore bands, excluding stuff like Sick of It All, but we all know which bands we're talking about. Born Star Husbands. And then there were bands that were trying to push the limits of what hardcore was. At the same time, let's be honest, when one listens to In a Perfect World, I mean, there are hardcore or punk elements in it, but that record was just so much more. And I looked it up a little bit, and could it be that, having had the chance to record this record with Martin Bisi, was the game changer for In a Perfect World?
It definitely changed. I mean, we were working on this material. It's definitely a departure from the first one, but it just takes those rhythms and polyrhythms and goes a little deeper and harder. And the singing is definitely more aggressive. And I think, but we had we've commented, we were on tour constantly, and so we had to write in a real focused zone, and then we got offered this opportunity to go to Martin's, which has this like aesthetic that's just like its own thing, and it just
Authentic,
added that extra layer of grit and almost like industrial sound to it, which made it something new, I think, and really, like you said, it did. That was the next level, so.
It's just interesting that you mention his studio, because I don't know who of you said it, but one of you said about the studio that it was a welcome cacophonic room.
Yeah, it's kind of it was an old Civil War ammunitions warehouse back in the day, and it just has this big warehouse kind of cacophonic vibe to it,
Mm-hmm.
and that really like kind of led to like, the ambience of the sound for sure.
That's something that I just wanted to ask. Do you think that the room itself also changed the sound of a record, and in which way then?
Sure, because of the ambience, so a lot of studios are really tuned and kind of dead sounding and controlled, and this was really live and open and concrete and brick, and like it has this kind of and a lot of his recordings, if you could listen to them, you're like, oh yeah,
you hear the room
kind of vibe to it. Yeah
you go, you once you know a Martin Bisi record and you listen to it, you go, the room is an instrument, and that's a lot of studios are like that. That is part of the thing. Like why if it wasn't, you would just could record anywhere. But when you hear, when you want to, and you want that, you add that layer that becomes part of the experience, so.
Well,
and the studio ghost probably helped.
The ghosts, the ghost helped.
Okay. And at the same time, I mean, like, of course, recording in the studio is probably very, very influential. But did I see that right? You probably, or you spent a whole summer with Bisi in New York?
Yep,
yeah, a couple months for sure.
Yep, and then we took a little break, and we went in and we went to LA, and we're in that Strange Days film.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a couple weeks, and then we went home for a few weeks. Actually, I went on tour with Molly McGuire as like a roadie. And then we came back to New York and we finished. Like we spent another month mixing or something. So,
by the way, how was it to become movie superstars?
Our 10 seconds to fame.
Yeah, 10 seconds to that was one of the greatest experiences of my life. It was so incredibly fun and interesting and eye-opening, and we met so many people. It was wild, but it was kind of a good
departure too, because I mean we were kind of pounding it out in the studio nonstop, and then went there and we were just kind of hanging out on set waiting for our turn for like 10 days, just like okay, we're hanging out here, I guess we're just going to hang out.
There's a lot of hanging out.
Hang out 10 days for 10 seconds. Yeah.
I think I remember some sort of story about Steve stealing Billy Armstrong from Green Day's girlfriend during that.
No, totally different story. And
well, now you got to clue it up.
Had nothing to do with that movie.
So when did you rob the megastar Armstrong?
Did I what?
When did you steal something from the big superstar?
I did not steal anything from him.
That's what you say.
No, but I think it's the other way around.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. That was a time when people were still booking real musicians for something like that. I remember the Singles movie where we had a lot of people from the Pearl Jam and Mother Love Bone camp. The dog tries to get attention. And you were in Strange Days. Or also little cameos like Al Johnson from US Maple all of a sudden being in High Fidelity. Yeah.
Yeah, the 90s was an interesting time, it really, whether you want to call it the grunge era or whatever, there was a lot of, I think, interdisciplinary things happening. The underground was getting some attention, and, and some of the underground became mainstream, and the stuff that wasn't, as aggressive or strange, but it's cool when you look back at and you look back at that as a time capsule. It's kind of like, oh wow, that's pretty wild to be part of that, and adjacent to it, if anything, and that was really mostly because of we were connected to a major label, which was so random and weird that even happened. But without that, I don't know if some of those things ever would have happened. But it's just part of the story, So
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. If it hadn't been for Columbia, you would not have been able to spend a summer in New York.
oh no, hell no, we would have.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when you nowadays look back on being on a label, would you say that for you it was a good on a major label? Would you say that it was for you as a band a good or a bad thing?
I always say it was a good thing. I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, there was nothing. There's not the only thing bad about it that you can't know. You kind of go, well, some people said we sold out, and so did we not have as much of a success in the underground or whatever it was. I mean, but I just think that's just a coulda, woulda. You have to take the opportunities, that come at you, and we definitely didn't. I mean, listen to the records. We didn't compromise our sound by any means.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we weren't. We only did 2 records with them, but it's like I said, it's just part of the story, and it's the choices you make, and if. I have no regrets about any of it. I think we did all the right things, and that were good for us as artists. And here we are 30 years later from that record, 35 on from the first record, and we're all still friends and making new music. So,
yeah, and I also think about it that way. I mean, like to me, in a perfect world, if I had to give anybody like a suggestion or recommendation on which Season to Risk record to listen to, it would always be In a Perfect World. And of course, that is possible because you had so much time. So, and also because you didn't sell out.
yeah.
As cool as the record is, it's not aiming for a high accessibility. It's not like, okay, let's jump onto Billboard. And I remember seeing the record for the first time, and I hope you don't mind. The cover was the reason why I bought it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Derek is an amazing artist, and he definitely has a tone. It fit the album.
That's why we picked him. Yeah, because we knew he did cool, intriguing artwork. Yeah.
For everybody, when we talk about Derek, we mean Derek Hess, who back at that time, probably together with Kozik, was the designer for cool, awesome covers. He did covers for Converge. I think he did something for hardcore band from Buffalo, Snapcase, if I'm correct. So he did lots of amazing covers, and he has a style that is, if you've once recognized the Hess as a Hess, he will always do that. However, there is something that I would like to ask. How much information about the record did you give him?
I think we sent him the rough mixes.
Okay.
And he was able to listen to it. Derek, we'd known him for a long time. He was a promoter as well, and he was the first person to ever book us into Cleveland, and he put us on shows all the time. He put us on cool shows when we go through there, and we have tons of flyers that he did for us. Mm-hmm. We just actually recently went to an art show he did. It was kind of a Euclid Tavern. Euclid Tavern was the famous club there that he booked.
It was a grog shop, wasn't it?
No, that's where the party was at.
Yeah.
But the Euclid Tavern was the club. It was kind of a reunion. That club was gone, and he had all his flyers there. And our friend Karen Novak, also from Cleveland, who took all these photos of all these bands of that era. They did an art show, and we went and played that last year and or earlier this year, I guess. And it was cool to see all those posters together of Derek's early stuff. And it's the first time I've gotten to chat with him in a minute, and so in person. So it was really cool catching up with him. And
so he heard all those songs live in his face, before they went to the studio, and he totally knew the band intimately.
Yeah, and didn't we have like some sort of a direction we gave him, or did he do a couple roughs first? I can't remember.
I I can't remember. I think he came up with that imagery himself. I think we might have said, "Oh, things are like this one or this one," and then
Yeah,
yeah, and then I think it was the first time that I remember seeing him do photographic. There's like the photograph of the
manipulation.
factory and kind
Yeah,
of doing that stuff as background. And I think we were just all like, "Whoa, this is new. This is new. This is cool,"
yeah.
And then we made a video. I don't know if you've ever seen the video,
Blood
but
Ugly.
yeah, we did a video for Blood Ugly off that album where the director, he was a guy from Portland, Shell White, took that imagery and cast actors, and it's did a really killer job of making that part of the aesthetic. I love it when I think back on
Yeah,
that.
hand painted each frame
Yeah, yeah,
with
super cool.
Japanese newspaper print.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's wild. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's pretty cool.
If I find it online, we'll put the link to the video here into our comment section that you can then look at. Because what also struck me about the record was the combination of Derek's artwork and the title. And if anybody ever sees it, it looks like um, uh, you see two people or three people basically pulling something, and it's clear that they're slaves, um, that they're modern day slaves. And then this title of "In a Perfect World," it just was the perfect contradiction for me back at the time.
It's irony for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of irony. Yes, definitely. And it's a really, really cool cover. So, okay, the record was released by Columbia back in the day. Now it's released through Spartan Records. How did that come about?
Um, we so we it's part of a process. We've been reissuing our albums, the later albums that were on a couple of independent records labels were never released. They came out during what I call the CD era. There wasn't a lot of vinyl being made, and I'm a total record nerd, and I wanted them on. I wanted LPs, and so we decided to do a reissue project of those records, and those labels were very, yeah, do whatever you want. They're like, it's your music, it's fine. They didn't care about money or anything. So we got those done. The pandemic kind of, we got the Minor Monkeys done during then, and it kind of pushed some things back. But in that time period, started talking to some people about the project, and I had to hunt down who, if we had the rights to do those Columbia records on, and so we kind of, it took a long time to hunt them down. Finally found somebody there. They had to go dig up a microfiche with the contract and blah blah blah. Technically now, in about 5 years, I was doing some research on copyright. So the first record we actually probably will own outright here shortly, but in the interim, we did a deal to license for vinyl only, and I was talking. Spartan Records had been. Gosh, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. Spartan Records had put out local bands, Giant's Chair. They were working with
Shiner.
Shiner. They did all the Shiner reissues, and he was John over there was, he knew the Kansas City scene, and so we just reached out and was like, well, you want to complete the loop here, like, and he's like, well, he was concerned about Columbia, and I was like, well, let me work on that. And so I did the deal and got the licensing for it, and he's like, all right, let's go. And so there you have it. And it's great, and like I said, he just put out The Boy's Life. It's all our homies are on there. Train Dodge. It's just wild, so
It's one thing that I noticed recently, the way Brandon from Boys Life described it. He was like, Spartan Records has become like a nursing home for Kansas City hardcore.
nursing home.
But
Get out
the
the
way I was
doctor.
describing is it's kind of cool because Boys Life and Giant's Chair and us used to rehearse in the same basement of the same house.
Yeah.
And it's like now Steve and Al were roommates from Shiner, and like we all basically lived in the same houses or neighborhoods and dated the same people and worked in the same clubs. And so it's like we're all back in the same house again with Spartan Records.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It could be worse, right? Could be worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And inside that, to complete the story, talking about that, I met Steve from In It Records in Minneapolis, and he was giving me some advice on getting the licensing. I'd like to be involved too, and we had just released a cassette tape of a bunch of rarities and things that were never released. Just we wanted to do a cassette tape, just something simple and quick for a tour we had with the Cherubs, and we did that. And he's like, "What if I put that out?" And I'm like, "Well, okay, well, let's do that." And like, he's like, because I think I can get Record Store Day to do this. And so we're like, we can sweeten the pot. We have one brand new song, and we gave him that to add to it and make it different than the cassette. And so that became the 1-800 Meltdown record that came out in April. And so it just kind of, it's all kind of like surging this revitalization of us wanting to do stuff, you know. So.
Yeah. And you've already mentioned it. You are basically writing new stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can we expect a new full length by Season to Risk?
Yes.
We're working on it.
Yeah. It's getting there.
Cool.
But we keep going on tour. So like,
yeah.
And then we come back to what David says.
Yeah.
And then we come back to what David says. You know, too much touring, not enough time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, thanks for all the insight into that record. And I'm already looking forward to whenever a new one comes out. But the Veil of Sound interviews are never over until we get through the infamous quickfire round at the end. I will give you always two alternatives, and each one of you has to answer. It's going to be stuff like Pepsi versus Coca-Cola, at the drive-in or the Mars Volta, something like that.
Yeah.
And you have to pick and give a short explanation for your choice. So, I looked up who Martin Bisi worked with before you, and I then chose to give you the couple of Swans versus Cop Shoot Cop. Which band would you rather listen to right now?
Oh man,
right now, like today, for this
like
afternoon?
When this is over, which one would you rather listen to?
I tend to listen to Swans a lot. I love Cop Shoot Cop, but I listen to Swans weekly at least, and I haven't listened to Cop Shoot Cop in a minute. I need to, but now I'm going to. So
I know,
maybe
right?
Today I'm going to play Cop Shoot Cop.
Duane, which one would it be for you?
I think maybe right now I think I would do Cop Shoot Cop, because I mean I love both of them, and I remember did we play with them in a warehouse in KC, right, on Woods Weather Road?
There was that show, and then we played with them in Austin too, at the first time we went to South by Southwest. Yep. Right,
but I remember that Woods Weather Road show was really pretty fun and pretty wild. And but then again, the Swans. Remember, we saw them in Chicago at the Metro, and it was the loudest thing we'd ever seen. We were trying to escape. We were in the bathroom at the top floor in the very far back, and we couldn't escape the thunder.
You couldn't even talk.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna throw up. My DNA is getting rearranged, like that lady told us in Spokane or whatever.
Yeah.
That is typically Swans. David, which one would you rather listen to?
I'll go Swans. You know, Swans is like the go-to that you always come back to eventually. I've been a serious Swans fan since the late 80s.
I know that you and your band share a few members with Shiner, space rock. So for me, the ultimate space rock band ever is Hum. So I'll give you two of their records. You'd prefer An Astronaut versus Downward is Heavenward. I know.
I'm going with Downward. So
I think maybe you prefer An Astronaut. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like
the records kind of blend together because we played with them a bunch of times. So they're kind of more of a live kind of thing for me.
David?
Yeah.
They're such a great live band. And it was so fun watching them go from like 0 to 100 so fast.
Yeah. They were sleeping on my couch, and they're like, "Hey, we're on the radio."
And I'm like, we have to admit, Stars is a perfect alternative metal radio song. There is no doubt about that.
It's a beautiful song.
So I choose both.
Okay,
Back to back.
Okay. To bring in a little bit more Kansas City flavor, the Get Up Kids. Something to write home about versus 4 Minute Mile. For me, that's an easy one.
I go 4 Minute Mile just because when I moved to Kansas City, that's what they were doing. They were just writing that stuff, and it was fun seeing them in like little house shows and stuff. And I totally got what they were doing. So that's
the same thing.
Dear to my heart.
Same thing, and then they blew up as well.
Yeah, that's true. But Duane, would you also choose 4 Minute Mile?
I think so. Probably so, just from the era.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that kind of resonates the most.
And Steve?
I can't think of the title. They had a later record that had that song On a Wire. I love that record so much. And I can't think of the title. It's the title
track of a record.
The record is On a Wire. Yeah. I love that record. So sorry I didn't answer your question. I didn't pick one of yours. So that's my vote.
For me, it's no, that's okay. For me, it's easy because recently I saw the Get Up Kids play Something to Write Home About.
Nice.
Close to my hometown. So that was, and it was very interesting. A lot of people my age and everybody knew every single line.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Always amazing at their shows. Everybody, they're just sing along.
Yeah. I have one more, and I think that one only goes out to Steve and to Duane because Red Sox country, no. Which professional sports club would you rather attend tomorrow? The Royals or the Chiefs? I know the Royals are not playing tomorrow. I know.
Right.
But if they were, which one would you rather go to?
I prefer. Go ahead, Duane.
I'd say Chiefs probably.
Yeah.
A little more action packed.
See, I go
because they're shite at the moment.
Yeah. I go Royals. I think. Chiefs games are fun, but it's a shit show. It is an absolute shit show to go to an NFL game. It is just it's a nightmare. And
party.
Yeah, the people at a baseball game are so much more pleasant.
That's true.
Yeah, and usually it's warm when the baseball's playing, and it's just more relaxing.
I used to. We went last baseball game I went to at the Royals game. I was like, I'm a big hockey fan, so I'm like, this is kind of boring. I don't know. This is so slow. I'm just going to eat a hot dog and drink a beer. I don't know. This is so boring. And then someone hit a foul ball, and I was down the first base line, and literally the guy the next row down like caught the ball, or it would have like cleaned out my hot dog and my beer. So I'm like, okay, I'll stop talking trash.
Getting a puck to the teeth.
Yeah, almost.
But adjusting the question for David, the Patriots or the Red Sox?
Gosh.
Same thing. I would go Patriots.
They're doing good. Yeah, but we got to admit, they're doing good this year. I mean, like, okay, they might not have had...
Like, I've gone to some baseball games. I've gone to the Red Sox. I saw Collier Yastrzemski hit his 400th home run.
There you go. That's
cool.
But baseball is kind of boring.
I always talk about the talk about relocating the Royal Stadium downtown in Kansas City. Yeah. And I always remember back when we played, I can't remember what the venue was, but we played and we got in that traffic jam outside of Fenway Park downtown. I was like, oh, God, this is a nightmare.
Probably Middle East, maybe?
No, it was
Mama Ken. It was right next to it.
Yeah, with Crispin Glover doing the book signing and Pogues or something.
Yeah, it's Aerosmith's club, or it was at one point.
Yeah.
That's just traffic in Boston on any given day.
Yeah, fucking disaster.
Yeah. But isn't the reallocating of the Royals downtown already through, like set?
It's not approved. They keep
throwing options.
Yeah, they've been playing games. So
Do we demolish these 4 city blocks for a baseball stadium, or do we try to put someplace where there's a vacancy?
yeah.
Basically, is what the question is.
Yeah, yeah. I still remember I lived in Atlanta for a year, and they just remodeled. Back then, Turner Field was already down. It wasn't Turner Field. It was Fulton County, which was demolished for the Olympic Stadium, and then the Olympic Stadium was turned into Turner Field. And I still remember that, and I was like, okay, how many chit shows of rebuilding something can you do?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. It's.
And I have one last one, and I always like to take at least one question from the interview itself, and this time it was easy for me. So I'll give you 2 records, but by one of your seemingly favorite bands and one of my definitely favorite bands, Einstürzende Neubauten. Halber Mensch or Haus der Lüge?
Oh, you picked 2 tough ones.
I never said it would be easy.
House Deluge was when they started suddenly evolving, and you were like, "Wait, what? Are they going to be a band now?"
Yeah.
So that was like a special moment because that record kind of stands on itself. And then Alba Mensch is just like a classic. You can't. That's not fair. You can't compare
Both.
I'm gonna go with Haus der Lüge. So,
yeah. Shall I correct your German? See?
Yes, please.
It's Lüge.
Lüge.
Yeah. Lüge.
I know German is hard as fuck, so forget it.
Haus der Lüge.
Yeah.
German is so difficult, we can't even pronounce our own band name, Sie lieben Maschinen.
Sie lieben Maschinen.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're doing good. You're doing good. You just have to turn that S in Maschinen into a Sh.
Oh,
Sie lieben Maschinen. Yeah.
Sie lieben Maschinen.
But that's cool. I mean, like, honest question and last question, is that band or project name a little bit inspired by Neubauten?
Josh named it, so I don't. He never told me. I don't know. I have no idea. It was really his project.
That whole project is just Josh's like side writing, and
they just send us tapes and like, will you do this? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
we helped him flesh it out live a couple of times, and he's done different iterations of it. And but
yeah, he says he's going to be sending me a whole new record soon, but he's busy with Shiner right now, so we'll see. I think that band played 8 shows maybe with
Die lieben Maschinen.
Yeah, I think. Were you the only live drummer, David? No.
Richie did.
Nick Organ
played bass.
Nick Organ played drums too.
Huh.
Yeah. We had every time we played it was a different lineup almost. It was just me and Josh.
So guys, thanks for all the insight into the record and for your detailed answers. I'm gonna go and oil my throat, and for you, enjoy the rest of your day.
I'm going back to sleep. How do you say it? Choose.
So guys, thanks for all your time. Bye-bye.
Yep. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good times.
Cheers.